Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video of Tokyo Ghoul Dark War. Now I am trying a new style of recording this. My microphone is currently going only in mono. I'm gonna edit it down in post to see how it goes, because I have been having severe difficult audio issues all throughout this week, and it has been killing me super hard. We're gonna try to get this done today. This is my third time trying to cover this new update, but you know what? We actually have some things to cover on top of that this time, so at least that's quite nice. They actually dropped a new Hinami Christmas in my time that it took me to actually cover the update properly. So I mean, that's a net win, I suppose. So let's go ahead and go into this. My cat is currently chilling here for some reason. Here, it's alright, go lay down. It's okay. Don't bother the microphone for right now. Alright, so we do have two new characters that got added to the game in the new update in the Hinami Christmas and the Touka Christmas. I actually have 10 shards of Hinami already, which is quite nice. I'm actually going to get her before her season ends. I intend to go and finish the festival off to at least get her to 3-star, because I do think she's going to be someone who's going to shape this game in the future and kind of open up new possibilities. So let's go ahead and get into this. We also have some other stuff to cover, including a new difficulty inside the main story. And we have a new thing to cover in terms of, what do you call it? I forget. I totally forget. Exclusive equipment. There's some more stuff to cover inside there as well. So let's go ahead and get into this. So first and foremost, she's absolutely beautiful, and she actually has a voice line. Some of the SSRs recently that have been dropped when their first update comes out, they have no voice lines whatsoever. Arata Proto is one of them. Kuroiwa actually has one now. Owl didn't have one before, but he does now. Shachi didn't have one before, but he does now. So, mad respect for that. I actually do appreciate that quite a bit. So we have Hinami's.
I hope you all have a great day.
Now, the new ones are especially quiet. I don't know why. I don't know if it's compressed in some way where it makes it especially quiet compared to the music, but it is kind of unfortunate, but I do like the new clips regardless. Her 2D art is absolutely beautiful, and she has links with some very fancy characters. So you have Hero with Mass Kaneki for 45% HP. She is a support character, so that is helpful. We have Partner with Touka Christmas and Touka and Kaneki, which obviously makes a lot of sense, but it actually is a quite expensive link, I'd say, because Hinami's a festival, as well as that Touka and Kaneki's a festival. If you didn't go in on the last festival, she is going to be less powerful for it, so good thing to keep in mind for right now, and you definitely do need Touka when she comes around, probably in 2 days on the VIP banner. So, yeah. We also have the Tsukiyama Shu Yukata, which is quite nice. Luckily, I ended up picking him up when he first came out, so I actually have that link, but yeah. We also have Enemy with Noro and Ayato, which makes far less sense to me, because I don't think that Hinami even knew that Noro existed, except for the fact that she worked with him inside the Aogiri inside Ri, but this isn't Ri. And with Ayato, I don't think I would call them enemies per se. Hell, at the end of Ri, they're definitely not enemies. They're all kinds of going on dates to amusement parks and shit. Uncle Ayato is having a great time with Auntie Hinami, so I guess that is kind of weird, isn't it? In that casing, Hinami and Kaneki would end up being in-laws in some way. That's a weird thing to think about. I kind of love that. She does have some links here as well for the attack promotion, which is interesting. She seems to have quite a bit of attack base stuff, considering she is a support unit, so it's interesting. And we have naturally the same stuff as usual. So we have her first skill in Christmas Healing, which is Hinami wraps herself in a Kagune before releasing it to create a barrier, which absorbs damage equivalent to 10% of Hinami's HP and heals nearby enemies. So we currently didn't have any SSR characters inside the game that have active heals. We had characters that had self-sustain or slight heal to other teammates. Examples of that is Noro's second is a self-sustain heal. Rima Ixa's second is a similar thing to this, where he sucks in damage and heals it all back. Hafukuji Omori has a passive for healing, but we don't really have an active one like the SR Eto. So this healing is actually a pretty big change, and considering it does create a barrier around herself which absorbs damage, it also helps her with her field presence and survival, which is really pleasant. So we have her second as well with Holy Strike, which is Hinami waves her Kagune and strikes, dealing massive damage to all enemies in line. Very basic, just straight DPS, nothing really too special until 4-star, so that is a thing. And we have Christmas Zone, which is Hinami spins Gihune all around to create a region of effect, where all enemies can receive continuous damage for 8 seconds. The crit rate of damage dealt to Hinami's teammates within this region will be lowered by 30%. Now, it says teammates. I don't know if it affects herself inside the zone. I imagine it probably doesn't, so she is easier to kill during that time. But she does sound really, really good here. You probably pop your Christmas Zone, then your first, and just have an impervious team for the most part to most damage. Anti-crit is really strong right now because Hoji was focused on trying to get crits, and the crit team, if you have them all at 5-star, is one of the most horrifying things I have seen ever. So this is definitely good for trying to counter the current meta that I've seen with Hoji. And I do think that having continuous damage and having this field presence of 8 hits where it does 800 damage in total is really, really nice. This combination of attacks honestly is going to make her extremely powerful. And along with that, she also has a passive skill of Hinami buffs attack to all nearby enemies and herself by 3%. Now, she has kind of a similar passive to the SSR Tatara, of which GameSamba themselves have now referred to as the best support in the game, supposedly. So that's interesting. But I guess if he's the best support in the game, and she has the same passive, but she's even better and she heals, she's probably the best support in the game. So that's good to know. We also have the 4-star here, which is the Hinami waves her Gune and strikes in front, dealing all damage to all enemies in line. And it adds a stun hit enemies for a little bit of time. Very, very small change, but the 12% or 12.8% anti-critical is quite helpful alongside it. Her 4-star seems as if it's going to be nice for her presence as well. Makes all of her skills have something good to it. And finally, at 5-star, she becomes easily the best support currently inside the game. So at 5-star, Hinami buffs attack of all nearby teammates and herself. And she then gains an ability where when Hinami's HP is lowered to a critical point, she will become immune to damage for 8 seconds while generating 20% HP for a period of time. Now, what this means is alongside a passive of attack buff to the entire enemy team while she's alive, she also has a self-sustain every 180 seconds, similar to the SR Kaneki, of which is just fantastic. I'm imagining in this scenario, she almost dies. Pop Christmas Zone, so it lowers the crit rate of everyone around them, and they start taking damage. Pop her first, where she starts absorbing damage into herself and heals her teammates. Heals herself above 20% even from her first, and just does a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic job. So I think she's going to be a huge game changer in terms of PvP, especially at 5-star, but even more so just in terms of the metagame that's currently going. She's very anti what people are enjoying, so it's good. It's good. I think she's going to be someone that I'm going to enjoy playing with as well. I didn't get the Hinami Summerfest, unfortunately, so I mean, this is the next best thing. The Hinami Summerfest actually got a new voice clip, and it is scary.
He came to get us, Mama!
So that's a voice clip of her recognizing when the cloudburst began, which, by the way, is rad. I love that. They call it the cloudburst. But this is her running when she smells her father, when he's actually just a gooey mess inside a briefcase. It's kind of dark. Honestly, we can kind of tell a story here if you want. So we have the SR Hinami, of which can awaken now, by the way, to SSR. We'll cover that in a little bit. But so her voice clip has been changed from the Mr., then the Kaneki voice clip reply, to this.
Wow, you're right. It is raining.
It's dark. It is so dark. So it is raining.
Wow, you're right. It is raining.
It's
He came to get us, Mama.
She smells her dad and says that he came to get us, and then Ryoko goes,
"You need to calm down, Hinami."
And then she dies. And that's the entire story of that episode. And there you go. So now there's voice clips to be able to give a little skit, which is quite nice. I like that they're kind of changing things and kind of, I don't know, it makes me happy that they're actually implementing these voice lines and putting the actual work into the game. Especially because, like, we had a time in this game from, like, launch until, like, June of this year where there was, like, no updates, there was no progression, there was so little... I don't want to say so little work put into the game, but it felt as if the developers didn't really care about it. And as of recent, we've gotten 3 updates within about a month and a half or so, which is absolutely incredible. It says so much about the state of the game, and they're adding game modes, they're adding new characters actually fun to play, they're experimenting with different types of attacks and trying to see what works. They're even adding some new features of which will end up changing the metagame going forward. So we're going to go ahead and cover the Touka Kirishima Christmas, of which is going to be another huge game changer. So, first of all, she has one of the cheeriest voice clips I've ever heard the Touka voice actor say.
So, if I open one, you'll always know where to find me.
It's way too quiet. One sec. Here, let's boost that. No music this time.
So, if I open one, you'll always know where to find me.
And there you go. Unfortunately, my Bluetooth headset only picks up like certain frequencies, so it actually ended up cutting out for me pretty hard. I think that there's like a minimum noise gate on it, but either way, she is absolutely incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing what she has to offer. So first and foremost, we have Sister and Brother with Ayato Kirishima and Touka Christmas. That's a pretty obvious one. Every single Touka kind of has that, and we'll probably have that until the end of time. At least until we get an errata character, when we have a family link, when it's errata, Mask, and a Touka, which would be really, really cute, but you know. So we have Partner with the Hinami Christmas and Wounded Kaneki, which actually makes a lot of sense. We have Defeat with Gourmet, which I imagine is meant to be Touka defeating him. And we have Enemy with Kuroiwa Proto and Shinohara Errata Proto. Now, that is a very, very expensive link right there, unfortunately. The idea of having to top up all the way for Kuroiwa Proto and getting Shinohara before is very sizable, but obviously that is her, like, main link that she goes for. It's 60% HP as well, so it's meant to be the one that's, like, endgame. But yeah, so it is going to be hard to get all of her links done. I feel as if collecting them is, like... Ayato Mask has gotten more rare recently because he hasn't really come out in many banners as a filler, which I'm fine with, but in terms of new players, I don't think that they'll have him right now. Wounded Kaneki, he comes around pretty often, and Gourmet comes around pretty often. Kuroiwa's only come around inside top up for, I think it was like 20,000 diamonds in a period of time, which is pretty ridiculous, but yeah. So, also, her 2D art is quite nice. I don't really like the way that they like compress the full art. I was talking with Kevin the other day about this, but Dark War's art, despite being the full copy of it, it doesn't seem to be the full quality. They definitely put some sort of compression on it or something to actually get into the game, but on a full monitor, like the way that I play this right now, it just doesn't end up turning out the best in the world. You can kind of see some pixels and stuff like that if you zoom in on her face and stuff, so... Yeah, I do love the art style inside Dark War, but the JPEGs and full art things are definitely not the best in the world in terms of quality, now that I'm kind of looking in with a more critical eye and stuff. We also have her first, which is Christmas Impact. Touka jumps in the air and slams down, dealing massive damage to enemies within the targeted area, and prevents affected enemies from receiving the next cast of healing. Now, it doesn't say the next heal, it says the next cast of healing, meaning that first is actually a counter to not only the Christmas Hinami's first, but that is also a counter to any character of which has a basic heal. Noro, Arima Ixa, stuff like that, characters that have a skill that particularly focuses on healing them. I actually don't know if... I guess Arima Ixas is more of an absorb than it is a straight heal, but Noro at least would be countered by this, which is actually very, very strong. Plus, I don't know how big the area is, but I feel as if, depending on how big it is, if it's similar to, like, I don't know. I'm imagining like Tsukiyama Gourmet's third. Is it the third? I'm imagining the third inside War Age. So maybe I'm not actually thinking of the Tsukiyama Gourmet's third. Either way, it just seems like it's going to be very good for trying to counter in arena stuff. We also have Touka's Merry Bombardment. All the Toukas have their own like form of bombardment inside this. Oh, I actually need water. Jeez. I need to start getting in the habit of like taking drinks at least like once every 10 minutes on video and stuff. Like I'm trying to really get more water inside me because I've cut out soda entirely and now I'm just drinking like fucking Tim Hortons coffee and water. So I need to get in the habit of hydrating. So we have Merry Bombardment, which is Touka waves Kagune to release Kagune shards towards the front, dealing damage to enemies in a large area and lowering the movement speed by 60%, lasting 8 seconds. So that is immediately incredible because it does do a pretty big area, it seems. Towards the front, Bombardment is usually a pretty long line in front of her, and the movement speed thing is definitely good for trying to go with her friend Ayato Mask. However, the thing that truly makes it terrifying is Holy Light. Touka charges her attack before releasing a shockwave towards the enemies. Damage dealt to slowed enemies will be tripled. So this means that she has a synergy with any character currently inside the game that does slowing effects. Ayato Mask is the primary one that I think of when I think of that, but I completely lost all the other ones. Ayato Mask, at very least, is able to take advantage of this. And honestly, the idea of doing 840% times 3, plus the enemy can't run away because they're slowed already, is horrifying. That is the equivalent of shooting someone super hard and them like limping away and turning their back, and then you like pulling a Glock out and pointing at their back and just gunning them down straight up. It is scary. This is going to be an assassin type horrifying lady, and it's going to be amazing. Also, it is going to have her Kagune out, so it's going to be very, very nice looking. I still want to see what the animation for Holy Light is. We haven't had gameplay released just yet of these characters, but I think it's going to be fun. We also have Christmas Present in her passive, which is increase Touka's crit rate by 3%. Very basic, not really much presence inside the passive skill just yet, but it is something interesting. And finally, we have her star upgrades. Now, we don't see here exactly what her 4-star upgrade actually is, because it seems as if they put some sort of other person's skill here. It says slam the area in front with Quinque and reduce crit damage. Now, she doesn't have a Quinque. She doesn't slam, so I imagine it's not meant to be her attack. And also her 5-star here says Ken Kaneki and Toki Kirishima's dual units skill, unfortunately. But we can see a glimpse of what she actually has to offer down here in her Christmas Present 5-star. So we have increased Touka's crit rate, and at 5-star, when attacking enemies with Ukaku, deal 50% extra damage. Now, that is a straight 1.5 times multiplier on all attacks of every character with an Ukaku typing. Now, mono teams aren't really a thing that comes out very often because there's not really a heck of a lot of chances to kind of prioritize that. But this is the first synergy based on typing that we have inside the game, and it works extremely well, especially when you consider that she already has the synergy with the movement speed and Holy Light's triple damage, and Ayato Mask is a Ukaku type. I think that Ayato Mask is going to be extremely relevant now that this Touka actually exists. If you get her to 5-star, he's going to be a pretty overwhelming force with the Absorb. He has the movement speed down, and he has this crazy DPS thing, plus the movement speed down, which is going to be quite fun. I think that the ideal team, from what I'm seeing at least, in terms of like a secondary arena team, will be Touka Christmas, Hoji, because he's Nukaku, and the Ayato Mask. The crit rate on Hoji is already pretty crazy. The idea of putting a multiplier on that, plus the bleed that he has, plus the crit rate, plus his hemorrhaging, so his butthole is all kinds of puckered. It's great. It's just a great combo. So Touka's definitely going to be a very good character in terms of trying to crush inside arena. You probably won't have too much. Words are hard. I was speeding up there a little bit too fast. Okay. You probably won't have too much sustain inside the team, unfortunately, because the Ayato has only his shield, no heal. This Touka has her attacks, no heal, and Hoji also has no heal. And I don't think we have any especially good, like... I mean, we have Banjo. That's the best support in the game. But otherwise, like, we only have Eto Ukaku, which we can get to SSR, but that's not too great. We don't really have too many Ukaku typings that can help you in terms of survivability. Like, we don't have a Kuroiwa Arata in terms of our Ukakus, so it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be something to look for when she does get dropped and see what they have to offer. Touka Yukata is also going to be pretty good on that team, though I personally don't enjoy using her. Plus, she's still missing the Tsukiyama white shirt link, and I don't have other Summerfest characters regardless. So, yeah. All in all, I do think the two new characters are going to be fantastic, and hell, I just talked about them for 20 minutes, so clearly there's something fancy about them. And we do want to go ahead and cover the other new SR to SSR awakenings. So I'll quickly just shotgun through these. So we have the SR to SSR Hinami. So already we knew that the Hinami SR was one of the best SRs currently inside the game. We haven't really had too many added recently anyway. So we already knew that she had some pretty good stuns. She had some pretty good field presence. She has her passive that heals pretty well. But as she goes to SSR, she actually gets a huge power increase. Let me actually grab a calculator right now. So, right here, she has an attack growth rate of 16%, defense and S defense by 12%, but the crazy thing is the attack, or the HP growth rate by 123%, meaning she gets a multiplier of 2.23 on her current HP level. So if we go ahead and do this real quick. So we have 1, 2, 4, 3, that is not a 3, 3, 6, 7, 0 times 2.23, because the multiplier is 100% plus 123%. She goes up to 2,773,000 HP. In terms of a character that's only an SR that you can get fairly early inside the game, that is overwhelming and terrifying. And I have a feeling that if you do have early game fights, or you are trying to kind of start from the beginning, SSR Hinami is going to be one of the best things to focus for the early game. Her art is also just huge. It's huge, it's beautiful, her Kagune is fancy. It makes me very happy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she has to offer in the future. Additionally, we do have some other new SSR awakenings that we can look at right now. We have the Kaneki that goes from SR to SSR. Obviously, his character himself isn't too great from what we've seen so far. There's nothing too crazy about it. There's nothing too fancy. He's just kind of here. He does the... If he dies, he gets to heal all his health back, but at least his art is real neat. And I do think that, like, they could do some fun things with the SSR Kaneki. Because the first character you get inside the game is the SR Kaneki. So it is one of the first things you do start with. So I imagine that the SSR Kaneki is going to be one of the first things you grind towards as well. So I'm just trying to imagine, like, would they push him further? Would the red SSRs be able to evolve into URs? And in that casing, would he have, like, a form beyond this? Would he have a cooler piece of art? Would his kit change in some way? Because what I'm imagining right now is like, oh, SR Kaneki to SSR Kaneki, and he gets a pretty good stat increase. SSR Kaneki to UR Kaneki, you get to evolve him into a form when he gets a brand new kit, and he gets super fancy. Like, hey, at UR, he gets a third that lets him transform, and he turns into half Kakuja for 30 seconds, and the cooldown's like 180 seconds, and he's able to just kind of crush through teams. It's kind of those things where, like, the first character you ever get, you kind of assume that if there is awakenings and transformations, that they're going to be able to get to the last tier and the end game, you know? But it's curious. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to offer. We also have some other ones inside. So Narukami seems to have been announced to get an awakening, but he doesn't actually have one just yet. So that's something. He actually has an exclusive equipment as well. We have Amon Dojima Plus, which has a new art with his huge spear out to his side, which is quite nice. Obviously, he is overwhelmingly fantastic already with his dodge meta and scary, violent charges. So, he's going to be a good force. And finally, we have Touka Rabbit, of which just kind of gets her Ukakus and becomes fancier. Nothing too crazy there. She actually does have an exclusive equipment now in her Rabbit Mask, which changes her double attack to also do like, I think it was like 600% damage, which is pretty crazy. So imagine out Awakening SSR, she's going to be pretty good as well. And we have Kori Ui, a character of which I haven't even put to purple tier just yet, just because I haven't had the chance to invest. However, it does seem as if the Kori Ui goes from the suit into the armor inside the SSR portrait. Now, I don't know if the actual model would change for it. I seriously doubt that it would, because the model didn't change at all for some of the other characters that are inside the game that have awakenings. Like, Marude didn't get his motorcycle, unfortunately, but yeah. All pretty good awakenings. All of them are pretty relevant characters, aside from the SR Kaneki. And I guess the Touka Rabbit, she's pretty good for early game. She's not really the best of the best. And yeah. We also have the exclusive equipment which they added to the game, which some of them I don't quite understand. Like, Yamori's pliers would make more sense for the R Yamori, and I think that half Kuji Yamori should use something like the torture chair. I think that would work really well for an exclusive equipment. I feel as if that would just kind of be more fitting, almost. But all in all, like, Kuroiwa Special was added for Kuroiwa Arata. I do wish I could check what they actually increase and what percentages they go up by, but you have to actually get them to be able to do so, and they currently are unavailable. We have Demon Yamada for Shinohara Arata. It's a good rhyme. We have Hinami's Painting, which you get from the new hero difficulty on the main story. We have Rabbit Mask, which you also get from the main story. All of which give you damage increases on your first or second. Like Hinami SSR or SR's first goes from 60% damage to 537% damage, so it is pretty good. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and star you up real quick. How about that? There you go. Now her painting is 5-star. And now I can use her when I do get her to SSR eventually. Rabbit Mask also has a similar thing. We have Narukami, we have Dojima Upgraded, we have Teruhi, and we have the Christmas Present and the Candy Cane for the new Touka and Hinami Christmas. Don't know how they're going to be available. I imagine they're probably going to be out of a Tokyo Search or something. But it does seem to be quite fun. I wonder how the changes are going to be for these characters. Like, how sizable of an increase are these going to be? Because already, these new characters that are SSRs, their kits are pretty crazy, and their percentages are already pretty solid and up there. What would this Candy Cane give this Touka to make her better? I want to see. And we will end up seeing in the future when they do add them to the game. Also wanted to point out, I really like the new style of UI they have going. The Christmas above, where you can see the snowman running away from the jail beat. I like the Dojima over on the right side of the screen, of which has the Christmas trees on it. I think it's just a really nice addition. It's very cutesy and pleasant. And finally, we have the Nightmare difficulty on the main story, of which is kind of super difficult quests that also have objectives similar to Tokyo Search. So, for example, this one has no HP recovery and Rinkaku heroes only. If you play Tokyo Search, you know that this combination is one of the most horrifying things to read, because it's so fucking bullshit to try and pass. There's so few Rinkaku characters that don't heal and are actually relevant. Hafukuja Kaneki is kind of one of them. The Rize Yukata is kind of one of them. Yamori doesn't work because he has HP recovery on himself. I guess Ken Kaneki Mask works. There's not a heck of a lot you could use here, but we're gonna go try it. I actually want to play as Rize Yukata. That sounds nice, and I can actually go ahead and dodge. Oh god, it's even the fucking layout! Oh my god, it's just Tokyo Search. It's just a Tokyo Search level. You know what? I respect it. I'm probably not going to be able to... I healed for some reason. Does Rize have a heal? Oh no, I equipped a defense equipment on her. You know what? We're dying. I'm just going to not do that level right now. We'll just do one of the earlier ones fucking, we'll do this one. It's just kind of a new Tokyo Search-esque difficulty, of which lets you do some more in-depth stuff and lets you have some more fun playing the game. It's like endgame content, which is kind of what we were needing, so it makes me very happy to have it actually available. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the hero game mode, and looking forward to seeing how they do exclusive equipments in the future as well. I think it's going to be a good time. I think they're doing some really good things with the game. I think they're actually in a pretty good state right now. We've had 3 updates in a month and a half. Just like everything about it, they've been putting some actual effort into it, and it's appreciated, really. But yeah, so I've been really enjoying Dark War as of recent, and I feel as if I've been having a really good time with it. I definitely want to get back to it sometime soon. Hopefully the audio issues will end up not persisting beyond today. And yeah, I also wanted to go ahead and point out, right before we end off this, that Game Samba did release a new Christmas video to celebrate Tokyo Ghoul Dark War, and it is one of the goofiest, most fun things I've seen in a while. Let me actually pull it up. One sec. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and watch the Game Samba Tokyo Ghoul Dark War Merry Christmas video real quick, and I wanted to go ahead and comment on it. Okay, so that right there is the default animations of most of the characters inside Anteiku. Just having a good time. They're all just doing the default animations from the game. And it actually made me really happy when I saw it yesterday. Something about it is just this extra love, like, note to the players saying that they actually care about the game. And this is like, this is beyond anything I've seen from any other mobile game. Granted, it looks very goofy and it looks very like, it looks very MMD-esque, but honestly, like there's actual effort here, and that's something that's been missing from a lot of the games that I've played recently. So it's so appreciated. There's also, like, you can see Hinami jumping from behind. She jumps up from behind the counter because she's too short to go over it. And we also have Susukiyama's default animation. We have our Juzo here, of which usually holds knives in his animations. They actually removed his knives for the video, which I respect. It's such a small change, but I love it. We have Ayato, which has his Kakugan activated, punching his fist to really punch that Christmas spirit. We have the snowman on the counter. There's just so many small things, and like the animation for Amon isn't the default one. There's a Nico model here. Banjo's obviously here. There's so much detail from the actual Anteiku cafe as well. And they actually modeled a Christmas tree, of which you can barely even see. But they did it just for the sake of doing it. There's so much, like, genuine effort that went into this, and I respect it. It's so, like, it's so over the top, but it's so good. It's just exactly what I wanted out of the season. I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know I wanted that shit out of the season. So I'm very happy. Obviously, this video is going up on Christmas Eve. I am recording it on Christmas Eve at 11:18 a.m. currently. I'm getting the spirit as well, I think. I think that season's greetings to everyone out there. Hopefully y'all are having a good day. I'm enjoying Dark War. Dark War is definitely, it's, the game itself isn't in a great state, but it's definitely getting to the state that it wants to be in. And that's the best thing you can say about a game, really. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hope you've been enjoying Tokyo Ghoul Dark War. I have, and I will keep on playing these games as long as they keep on being enjoyable. For now, thank you so much for watching, and from all of me over here at LeaIsChill, hopefully you guys have an excellent holidays. I probably won't have any videos up tomorrow. There probably might be one up today later on, but if I don't see ya, take it easy and have a good one. Bye for now.